Is there such thing as just having everything in one?
Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Sade, and welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to do a quick, very impromptu video. This is probably not going to be quick. I'm actually fucking lying. But I just wanted to do a very impromptu video about how I'm feeling, I guess you could say, and things of the sort. And I'm going to do this while I'm getting ready and things of the sort. I'm not really going to be talking about the products that I'm using and things of the sort because I just want to get ready and just talk to you guys. I don't want to feel like I'm doing this beauty guru thing. It's very hard to talk about products and talk about your application while talking about real shit, like, and trying to think of it and things of the sort. So I do have some notes, but at the same time, I just hate doing that. It's annoying. I'm not doing shit like that no more. Anyways, real quick, I'm gonna be taking, I know this contradicts completely what I just said, but I'm gonna be taking B12. B12 is really good for, like, bringing up your energy and things of the sort. I've found that, in recent months, I've had a lot of low energy, and it's probably because I'm miserable, but we'll get into that. And I've been taking B12, and I find that it does help. I got this at Fairway, and it was $11.99, and I just take a drop, and I just put it right here. And I just let that set in it, and it tastes so tasty. You take it once a day. So anyways, as you can see by the title, I got high, and I realized something. I realized, one, that I am miserable, and I realized, two, that I am bored. Not of life, not in a way where it's like I want to leave the earth, no, but I'm just bored of, like, people and their ideas, and maybe it's because I definitely need to change my routine, which is something I will get into as well. But I just feel indifferent about a lot of things as far as right now goes. So, in the midst of getting high, oh, I need to be doing my face, sorry. In the midst of getting high last night, July 1st, and that's the first time I've been high in a minute, because I'm not really a smoker. I'm not really into, like, weed or recreational things of the sort or whatever. It's weird because I'll do it socially. Like, I'll smoke a little hookah here and there if I go out and my friends order it and stuff. But, I look at people, particularly, like, black people who smoke cigarettes, like, with a huge disdain. Like, I'm just like, you disgust me. I know this is, like, kind of off topic, but, like, when I see black people smoking cigarettes, I just get tight because I'm just like, they had us out there picking the cotton, harvesting the tobacco, and now you just out here just smoking cigarettes? Like, you just out here smoking cigarettes. Like, what's wrong with you? But then again, I smoke hookah. So, like, moving on. I realized last night after getting high, I had, like, a really, like, deep conversation. It wasn't super, super deep, but it's what I would consider captivating or thought provoking in a sense where I actually went home and I was like, wow, like, I haven't thought about something like that in a long time. And I also haven't been challenged to think like this in a long time. Now, granted, a lot of that is due to my routine. My routine is very, I don't even have one. I don't really go anywhere because I work from home. So I'm in the house a lot of times. I don't meet a lot of people now that I'm, like, out of school, and I'm not out of school. Of course, I'm going to go back to school and stuff like that. But because of that, I don't really have, like, engagements with people outside of social events where we're going to the bar and we're doing all these things. And with my friends, even though I communicate with them on a fairly consistent basis, we don't really have deep conversations anymore because there's really there's no necessity for it, in the sense that, like, we pretty much know how far we can get into a conversation, but, for the sake of being lighthearted and enjoying ourselves and having fun, we don't really get there anymore. And because we don't have, like, these social, like, little, like, events that we used to when we were younger and stuff like that, like sleepovers and stuff where we discuss, like, things that are happening politically or socially and things of the sort, we just don't do that. A lot of what we talk about is, like, banter and just silly foolishness, which is fine because I appreciate those dynamics, because it's very frustrating to be in the know of everything, because then you're always, like, angry, like, you're enraged all the time. So basically, my friend brought up the conversation about, Junior's death and stuff like that, and I had mentioned that I had not looked too far into it, because there are times when something so devastating and heinous happens in the world that I literally have to check out, because I cannot mentally process that people are truly, like, agents of evil when they really are. So we had a conversation about that, and with the little knowledge of the case that I did have, the question was asked, would you forgive this person or would you take matters into your own hands? And I had replied, and it was with two guys. I was smoking with two guys, two of my guy friends. And I had mentioned that for myself, I would forgive. Because for myself, that's the only way I'll be able to move forward and process. And I find that a lot of the times, I'm personally challenged in my own life to move forward through mental process and remembering that people are people and people are very misguided and they do a lot of things that are not, particular. I don't think people think oftentimes, or people are very reactionary, and there's very few people who really like listen and process and do things accordingly. A lot of people are very reactionary. A lot of people are very like, I have to do this. I have to, get vengeance and things of the sort. And I was like, again, like I just can't imagine, taking matters into my own hands because then I become like you. And then we had a conversation. I had brought the conversation to, I guess the beginning of time and how, not the beginning of time, but ancient Africa basically. And I was like, the reason that our people, I know this is like so, I mean, I was high, so I know I'm kind of like jumping around, but I was talking about how our ancestors, particularly like black people's ancestors, the reason that we became enslaved is not because we're not strong or mentally strong or we didn't, we were a disheveled, disenfranchised people to start with. It's because our matters of effectiveness were aligned with love. It was never aligned with ego. It was never aligned with pride. It was never aligned with combativeness. It was always aligned with, and I'm not saying that, amongst the different tribal groups there weren't like issues and people didn't fight and people didn't lose their lives and there weren't like wars waged and things of the sort, but in a lot of ways they were for the greater good of the people and the community, and whoever was not for that ultimately was on the outskirts of that, and everywhere else you go in the world there were the wars that were waged were for capital and for enslavement and for other things. Now granted, I'm not saying that there wasn't slaves in Africa, and I'm not saying all of that type of stuff. It wasn't all kumbaya, but the matter of effectiveness from our people came from a place of love before it came from a place of pride and ego. And I said a lot of why people seek vengeance and seek the get back kind of thing is because it's so much tied to their ego. Like, if you could do this to me, I'm gonna do it for you, an eye for eye, a tooth for a tooth kind of thing. And it's like, there is no, if we didn't believe in the power of change, then the world would be absolutely chaotic. And I believe that we genuinely come to the world in order to accomplish things that are bigger than ourselves and that are aligned with love. And I feel like anything that takes me out of that, whether it's purposefully or not purposefully, whether it is provoked wise or not, it doesn't make me feel good. Like, when I have to combat evil with evil, it makes me genuinely frustrated. Like, for instance, the conversation that I was having about fighting my mom and stuff like that. Like, fighting my mom was not an act of, let me show her that I'm stronger than her, let me show her who the more dominant force is. It's my way of being effective to show somebody, that in that case my mom, I am not to be played with. Please stop messing around with me, because I will actually hurt you, and I don't want to hurt you, but this is what you make me feel like I need to do in order to protect myself. And I hate situations like that. And that's why I have a particular fondness of people who are kind but also have a kind of energy about them where it's like, I'm kind, but don't take this for weakness, because I will truly just don't fuck with me type shit, like, and yeah, that was our conversation. And in the midst of that conversation, I know I just kind of like said a lot. I was thinking to myself, I'm barely doing my makeup, OMG, sorry, but I was thinking to myself, like, oh fuck, this is about to be streaky as fuck. Okay, give me a second, let me blend this, girl, let me blend this. In the middle of that conversation, I was not in the middle, but when I got home, I was thinking to myself how I enjoyed that conversation. I enjoy having thought-provoking conversations. And again, as mentioned, I do tend to have pretty interesting conversations with, my loved ones and things around me. Like, for the most part, I can really say that I have some, pretty intellectual folk in my group, I guess you could say. But I was thinking, intimate wise, as far as like my romantic relationships go, I find that I'm oftentimes the smarter counterpart in all of my relationships. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm some fucking valedictorian and I have, a lot of understanding of the world and things of the sort. There are always things to improve on. But I find that in my relationships there's always like, yes, the men to whom I've dated add value to my life and they know certain things, but there's always like this trade-off. There's never this like full encompassing, like, cultured, street smart while book smart while spiritually smart and in tune kind of thing that I get from the men that I date. And it's very, very frustrating. And a part of that, I'm not going to say that that makes me miserable, but it just frustrates me deeply because I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like I'm the total package, but honestly, truly, and I'm not saying that, I'm saying this with a humble confidence. I truly believe that I have a lot to offer, and I realized, and I've said this before, that a lot of the relationships that I've been in have been off of the idea that I'm the type of person, I give people a lot of room to grow into themselves. So I might say to myself like, "Oh, you look like you could potentially be a good partner because I know that you can grow into these attributes." But the problem that I often find is that these niggas never grow into the attributes unless I am the wedge of growth between their former self and their best self. And a lot of that is so much emotional labor that I do not want to commit myself to anymore because it's not my job to help fix emotionally barren men or men who are so prideful that they can't absorb the knowledge of anything else. That's so frustrating and so fucking 2000 and fucking all everything besides 2018 and the present and moving forward. Like, bye. Like, that's over, done. Like, as soon as I peep that, I'm not gonna like idealize that you could be something more than what you present yourself as. If you're not it right there and then, it's quiet for you, bro. Like, it's quiet because you're boot. And no shade, but you're probably not smarter than me. And there's nothing that you can honestly offer me here. There's a lot of what you can take from, what I can give you, but there's really nothing that you can give me. And it's unfortunate because a lot of the men that I've dated, they're good men. They're not particularly bad. The trade-off is oftentimes like, if I have all these qualities, they always give me something that I've never had before. Like, maybe financial security or the idea of like being just protected overall or some other things and things of the sort. And all of that is cool, but it just doesn't beat for me no more. Like, it just doesn't, it's not the beat, it's not gonna do it for me no more. So just bored of people and their mediocrity and things of the sort. And I've mentioned this before a lot, on my channel. Like, people are just very mediocre just with the way that they live their lives and the way that they do things. And granted, I've kind of fallen victim to that as well because I kind of feel like, what am I aspiring to if everyone around me is just kind of like, you know? And then it's like, oh, well, why not date some of the people to whom you have these conversations with? Well, here's the thing. This is where attraction comes in. Everyone that, let me say this because I need to say this without sounding vain and sounding a particular way because I know that people are like, oh, well, maybe you need to give ugly niggas a chance and shit like that, da da da. Here's the thing. Nothing against ugly, men or anything of the sort. But I think, for a healthy dynamic, especially when it is romantic, you need to be attracted to your partner. And everyone that offers intellectual depth isn't necessarily attractive to me. So maybe I'm vain. Maybe my head is up my ass for saying that and all the things of the sort, but I really don't care because at the end of the day, it's about what's going to turn me on mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and I feel like oftentimes, again, I am the total package of that. And when men come, they offer like two of the three, or they just order the lesser half of it. And it's like, I feel like as women, we need to start aspiring to date people who are honestly better than us, because it's oftentimes that we are the better counterpart in the relationship. And that is, what is that? Like, if you're not dating someone who's better than you, or if you don't have a group of people who make you aspire to do more, because they're just living their best life by making sure that they're so fucking educated, or the most educated, and not in a way that's pompous and let me flaunt around that I'm a valedictorian, or I have all these stripes and accomplishments, but in a way where it's like, oh, I just want to share this knowledge with you, I just want you to be in the know of this, and I think this is beneficial to your life. It's like, then what are you doing? And I remember my friend Kiera, she was dating this nigga or whatever, and what I liked about when she was with him is that he always gave her room to grow, even if they weren't growing together. And one time he had mentioned to her, while she was dating other people, he was like to her, are you seat changing or are you upgrading? And that's how you should feel when you're getting in a relationship or moving into a new relationship after you've been in a relationship that really didn't, of course you learned a lesson of some sort, and sometimes the lesson is to never date somebody like that again. But it's like, we have to stop being what these niggas aspire to, and let niggas inspire us so that we can aspire to be on their level, or to be in like a equal place, and not in an equal place where there's like a plateau and it's comfortable, but in an equal place where it's like, I just love you so much and we're in such a good place. Like, of course there's gonna be more to grow into, but we're just good right now, and the good is only gonna get better. So those are my thoughts and feels right now, as far as what I realized and stuff like that. I just realized that I just want more out of life. And I saw something today, and it was talking about Scorpios. My moon sign is Scorpio, so I read my moon sign, my sun sign, and my rising sign horoscopes. Like, I'll read the Pisces because my Pisces is rising. I'll read my sun, which is in Virgo, and I'll read Scorpio, which is my moon. And today, Fashion Nova put up, which is so funny. They're an interesting thing, but it said Scorpio. This is what it says. The horoscope says, pay attention to the big picture, Scorpio. Ignore the petty details and dodge all of the obstacles. Although that's not something you can absolutely do, but for the most part, dodge obstacles that you can dodge, basically is what it's saying. And be diligent in completing your goals. Absolutely, because I've been having trouble with that, so I had to write these things down so that I could physically see them, so that I could know that these are things that I need to tackle every day to get to the bigger goal part and things. Sort. It says communicate what you need at work rather than trying to take it on by yourself. And because I work for myself, I was thinking to myself, like, why am I not feeling as accomplished as I want to feel? And it's because I feel like sometimes I just be doing too much and my brain feels like it's high wired. And like I said in my other video, it's okay to slow down. Even if the productivity looks slow to people on the outside who are waiting for you to put things out, slow the fuck down, because at the end of the day, a good product is a good product, and a good product will continue to sell. A good product, people are always going to subscribe to it because it's real, it's authentic, and it's not going to like just crumble apart. It's not like dash away kind of shit, you feel me? So it says that, and then it says, try to travel. It is the best way to learn. It will be easy to find flirtations but harder to commit, whatever that means. I mean, I know what it means, but I mean, okay. What you want is someone who is cultured, educated, supportive of your own professional goals, and of higher ranking than you. Now, what I thought was interesting about this was, for the past like maybe year and a half, I've been thinking about how I want to travel. Like, I want to travel more. Like, I seriously want to travel more. And the thing about me is I be having money to travel. Like, I be having money and stuff, whatever, because, I charge like $500 per YouTube, hair video that I do, so if I put out like 3-4 hair videos in a month, that's like what, $2,000? Sorry, I'm like terrible at math, but yeah, I think that's like $2,000 right there, and if I say I want to travel in like September for my birthday, and I start saving up from now in the midst of like the bills that I have to pay and stuff, I can definitely afford that. But the people to whom I want to travel with are not financially equivalent to me right now, which is absolutely fine. I don't find any hierarchy in that at all. I wish that we were, so we could travel together, but I know that's not something that we can really like do right now. So it's like, it's cool. I'll wait till everybody gets on their field and stuff like that. So then the question comes, why not travel by yourself? Now, the reason, to keep it a buck, the reason I haven't traveled by myself is because when I think of my journey to California and I think of, that experience in total, I can't help but feel ultimately traumatized by, going somewhere to like this unmarked place. None of my family has ever been there. None of my family lives there. And living there for almost 2 years and then running into basically having a super toxic relationship and just meeting like just having some of the most strange experiences, like somebody like coming into my room in the middle of the night, which if you haven't watched my channel, that did really happen. Like, that's not like something I just made up. And I just wonder, like, is there something that I do to attract certain types of things? And I used to think that. And then I had a conversation with a friend who affirmed, not a friend, I'm not really that close to her anymore, but, a former friend who is now what I would consider an acquaintance or an associate. And she said, yeah, you attract these things and stuff like that. You attract negativity by, your thoughts and what you put into the universe. Now, granted, I believe that to be true to some degree. I believe that, there are times we attract things into our lives. And believe me, I'm going to tie this into like the travel thing and all things of the sort. But I believe that there are people who are working on oppositions of what it is to be on this physical plane. And, sorry, let me just put this on. Anyways, the opposition is one of two things. It's you are going to be an agent of light and love and things of the sort, or you're going to be an agent of evil. Now, I feel as though anything that is derived from hate and evil is derived from a lack of understanding, a lack of know of self, misguidance, and a lack of love in general. And then, of course, agents of light and people who are light workers and work in those areas, that's self-explanatory, because it's everything encompassing of love and more, So she says to me, like, oh, you're attracting this. But here's the thing about being a light worker and being of light. Oftentimes, you will attract hurt people. You will attract people who are not agents of lightness and of love, because they are attracted to bright things that will create maybe more functionality for them, not functionality, but I think that they're attracted to light because they want a normative life, and they think that if they draw close to light, then it's their best chances to getting close to it. It's their best chances to functioning normally, despite whatever misery or hate or lack of understanding that they have. But the thing about it is, you can't just go and steal somebody. You steal someone's peace. You can't just steal some light. You have to manifest it as your own. So she says to me, like, oh, you could be attracting that, but no, people who are light workers, people who are lighthearted and just light and peaceful, they attract disheveled people, because disheveled people ultimately want peace. They want love. They want understanding. They want to be heard. So after hearing that, for a while, I fiddled with that in my head, and I was like, is this true? Like, is this how I should look at myself? And then a part of that deterred me from wanting to travel, because this is after I came back home after being in such a toxic relationship. And I was like, I don't want to go places if everywhere I go, I'm going to just attract, fucked up people who are just going to subtract from my livelihood, But then I came across that concept. And for a lot of what she said, I couldn't even accept that, because I was like, I know that there's nothing that I'm doing to attract this. That means that these are divine things that are happening and meant to happen this way. I guess for me to see truly that people are of such nature, because for a long time I never believed that people could be so effed up. I never believed that people could be so heinous. But I had to see it up close and personal. Not once, not twice, not three times, but like a bunch of times, because I'm always the benefit of the doubt person. I'm always the type of person who before would give a dance with the devil just to see, just to be in close proximity, just to see, like, are you really this terrible, or are you just misunderstood? But some people, I realize it's not my job to fix everybody. It's not my job to fix people who are committed to being sad and fucked up and miserable. And those are even things that I need to work through in myself, because I do feel quite a bit miserable and things so, but those are things I'm working through by myself, and I don't expect anyone to come along and say, let me help you. You know, it's great, it's nice, and it will be taken, you know, if I can receive it, even because I'm so hardened, but that's a conversation for another time. But ultimately, I know that that's nobody's job. Like I said, the idea of traveling has been a little bit of something that I fiddle around with, and I'm just like, is that something that I really like want to do? Because, you know, the fear of attracting people that could again like take away from my self-preservation is just a scary thought to me. And if you guys have any tips on how to get out of that mindset, please feel free to leave them down below. But that's where I'm at right now. And I would love to travel by myself. I would love to experience things by myself. But when I think of my position as a woman in this world, when I think of my position as a black woman in this world, it just becomes even more concerning, because it's just like, if I travel by myself and I go missing, it's, you know, reports of me going missing are not gonna be, you know, world news unless it's super tragic, or unless, you know, loved ones do a valiant effort to make sure that I'm plastered everywhere and people are looking for me to be returned home safely and sound, which is not often the case when it comes to women of color and black women. So then it's like a matter of, well, maybe you should join travel groups and things of the sort. And that is what I have truly considered as of late, you know, to anyways, those are things that I have truly considered as of late to combat this feeling of, you know, change your routine and live your best life and things of the sort. But, you know, when you have friends that you really like fuck with and you trust and you know that they care about your well-being, ultimately you want to travel with them. And not being able to travel with them really, really sucks. And the idea of traveling with a group of people to whom I don't really know and don't owe me any loyalty, kind of like, it doesn't rub me the wrong way, but it just brings about some like maybe irrational fears to me of like what could happen, you know? So actually I do kind of like it. Anyways, not really done getting ready. I'm gonna do my lashes off camera and probably come back when I'm like done with everything, because I know like this blending is a little harsh, but I really just wanted to talk. So when I'm done with everything, I'll come back. But yeah, that was pretty much everything that I had to say in bulk. Whatever I say after is probably just me closing it out. And if you got this far, thanks for listening. I love you. And yeah. Okay, so I'll be back when I'm done with the completed look. Say, what are your thoughts? What are your feels about what I shared and things of the sort? What else do I have to say as a closing statement? I think most of all, I think what I'll be thinking about is there a such thing as the total package, and is that something that is attainable? Like, do we aspire for marriage and, you know, matrimony as this thing that has been socialized, or is this something that can be attainable with someone that you really feel a deep romantic, emotional, physical and mental desire for, you know? Like, I feel like everybody, you meet people in your life where you get one of everything from them. Like, you get something that you didn't really have before that you really, really know that you like, but then if you move on, you don't get that in the next relationship. So is there such thing as just having everything in one? And is that something, I think of all things, that's what I aspire to have in all facets of my life, in my career, you know, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, just in every regard. So I aspire you guys to think the same. I feel like if people start to aspire to have those things in their life, they will start to attract it despite, you know, the obstacles and stuff that it takes to have those things. But at the same time, when it comes to like people and romantic desires, you cannot, there's no like hard work or more deserving effort when it comes to people's emotions and things like that. Like, you could be doing a lot and someone is still like, hey, I'm not interested, I don't want that, you know? So just so many thoughts, things of the sort. And I mean, you know, at the end of the day, romantic relationships shouldn't be the only thing you aspire for. Yeah, I'm just gonna continue filming today and get some stuff out of the way. But that's all I wanted to share with you guys. I love you guys. I hope that y'all are well. And let me show you guys my outfit real quick, because I'm sure that you guys are probably interested. I mean, maybe not, but maybe you are. So I'm just gonna show you guys. So this is my outfit. I think I got this from Shein side. I'm supposed to review this. I think I'm supposed to review. And for those who are gonna ask, there is gonna be a updated review on this hair up on my channel. This is the Icy Hair Beauty Hair. This is the deep curly texture, and I forgot the lengths, but yeah, you'll see it in the updated video. So that's it. I love you guys. I hope all is well, and that's it.